Sellers, you gotta know your audience. I'll talk about that and then get into the latest home prices and insights for the City of Toronto for week ending October 18, 2023. Let's say you're having a party and you invite a whole bunch of people and you've got ribs and steak as food and hamburgers, but all the people you invited are vegetarians. Are they gonna be excited to be at your party? Probably not. If they know ahead of time, they're probably not gonna show up. And if there's another party down the street that they can go to instead of your place or your party that is catering to what they like, non-meat products, let's just say they're vegetarian, they're probably gonna go there. Or if you have a football party and say, hey, you call a bunch of people, come to my house Sunday afternoon, let's watch the football game. And they're not into sports. Why would they come? I see sellers, a lot of them, kind of doing the same thing. It's like you don't know your audience. You've got to kind of have a pretty good idea what the market is about right now, the climate, and what the buyer is thinking. You've got to know to properly strategize how to sell your house or condo. And I see too many examples where I look at it and I say, what's the seller thinking? And I know sometimes the seller isn't thinking. They kind of just leave it to their realtor to do everything. And it's a mistake. For example, things that bug the buyer, photos. If the photos are just not really realistic, and Photoshop has changed a lot of things out there. But if the photos are not real, the minute the buyer shows up and they see that, it upsets them. I was at a condo showing this weekend. My client's looking for water view. They want to see the lake. They want a beautiful view of the lake. Well, photos in this one condo were great. So we went to go see it. We saw a few, but this one I'm talking about went to go see. As soon as you walk in, you could see out the windows in the living room, and there's another condo there. But we went there for the lake view, and we see another condo. So as you get closer, we had to be right up against the glass to see the lake. On the balcony, you had to lean over the edge on the balcony to see the lake. And that's what the photographer did. They leaned over, took a picture, and the realtor thought, this is great. The seller, are you not looking at your photos? Are you not seeing that and thinking, okay, it's a nice photo, but it's not really realistic of my condo's view? Are you not questioning your realtor? Because the buyers are basing it on what you're telling them or what you're showing them, and you're showing them you've got lake views. This upsets the buyers. The buyers right now think that every seller is desperate. I know it's not true, but that's what the buyers are thinking. And they're looking at list prices and just automatically want to negotiate down. That's the buyer's mentality. So those of you out there with an offer date, in many cases, I don't see the rationale. You've got to really look in your area. If the offer date has been working, okay, maybe do it. But lots of areas, it's just not working anymore. And then it doesn't sell. But you don't change the price. You don't put the price that you expect. You keep the price really low and just expect buyers to compete. Those days are gone. Buyers are looking at this and saying, we'll just wait. We'll see what happens. We'll see when they put it at the price that they're really interested in, but we're not going to go in and compete. Or they are putting in offers really low, and it bugs you as a seller, but you're bringing this on yourself. You've got to understand what the buyers are thinking in this climate, and you need to cater your listing to that. Buyers are looking to negotiate. Excuse me. Buyers are looking to negotiate down. There was one listing we saw, again, this week was a productive weekend. This weekend, one listing, this condo was priced at $399 downtown Toronto. Can you imagine $399 downtown Toronto? And for sure, price is going to sell for, if it sells, eventually it's going to sell for much higher. But in the brokerage remarks, and these are, brokerage remarks are comments on the listing that really just only between realtors. And the brokerage remark says, please call listing agent for seller expectations. So they got it listed at $399. Who are they looking to attract? They're going to get probably a ton of showings. But there's other buyers that'll see that. Like my clients will send me a listing and I'll say, yeah, that's the list price, but it's really not what they're expecting. And other properties in the area similar have sold for much more. So that price is more of a loss leader. I'll say that to my client. And they'll go, oh, forget it then. I go, what's a nice house? Do you want to go see it? Sometimes they still say, no, I don't want to play those games. Let's just wait for them to list it at the price that they want, and then we have a good idea of their expectations. They just don't want to go. This is what's going through the buyer's mind. These are the people coming to your listing party. You've got to know what they're thinking. You've got to know what's going to attract them. Be careful about repelling the buyers, because there's fewer buyers out there than ever before, and there's way more competition than ever before. So you're either going to attract people, or you're going to help other sellers sell their properties that are offering more of the way the buyer wants to buy. If you think this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. If you get value from what we're talking about, subscribe. And if you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Below this video in the description, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Now, let's get into the numbers. Sellers, they might be feeling like time is running out. Well, think about it. We started September, things shot up, activity shot up, listings, sales, but we're already on the other side of that peak, and it's all downhill from here to Christmas. Activity will drop, fewer buyers are showing up at the doors, there's fewer offers, but there's more competition, there's more listings out there. It's getting harder and harder to achieve the sale that you're looking for. Kind of feels like you're running out of time. Let's get into the numbers. Here's a quick summary. Average sold prices, condos, semis and towns, detached. This is just for the city of Toronto. And I've got it kind of split up by September and then after September. So this is pre-Labor Day. But if we look at the right after Labor Day, September numbers, prices were generally going up. And then we peaked in kind of the end of September. Now prices are starting to trend down. We're going to start off with detached properties. Again, this is just for the city of Toronto. Only detached properties for week ending October 18. I've got a whole year here broken down by week. Sales have been trending down. Now compared to last year, compared to last week, we're only four lower than what we sold last week. So 115 detached properties were sold for week ending October 18. 27 of those were sold at $2 million or more, which is one more at $2 million or more than what we sold the previous week. Average sold price, like I'm going to say it came down because technically it did, but it's really $1,000 lower than what it was the previous week. So it's basically the same. $1,607,000 is the average sold price for all detached properties sold. But that number, average sold price, since we peaked kind of towards the end of September, average prices have been trending down. 1,607,000 is 4% higher than where we were this time last year. The median price is 9% higher than where we were this time last year. And if we look at the August prices, well, although we're trending down now, we're still higher than where we were prices for August. So August is kind of the low point of this year so far. 115 were sold, 42% sold at list price or more. Let me just talk about that number or that phrase, sold at list price or more. That doesn't necessarily mean that they were all sold with an offer date, because many times properties are listed at a really, really competitive price and boom, a buyer buys it right away at the list price. So that's sold at list price or more. And if it's priced competitively, no offer date, sometimes for the right house, a very favorable house that's in demand, if it's priced right where it really makes sense to a lot of buyers it should sell at, sometimes you'll get 2 or 3 buyers trying to buy that house and you find yourself in a multiple offer situation and it might sell a little bit more. This is very different from right off the bat being listed with an offer date. So sold at list price or more encompasses all those scenarios I talk about, where a buyer just buys it right away at list price, or a couple buyers and it goes a little bit more, a couple buyers competing, or there's an offer date and it sells for a bit more than what it was listed at. So understand, they're not all offer date scenarios, but 42% sold at list price or more. Listings were trending down, but from this week to the previous week, it did go up a bit. 390 detached properties were listed. Active listings is just climbing. We jumped up from 3.5 to 1,500 to 1,700. Now we're over 1,800 active detached properties for sale that are available for sale starting the new week. So lots of properties sitting out there not sold. Some neighborhoods, we were in one neighborhood this weekend, in just a matter of 2 or 3 blocks, there was 15 detached properties for sale. We go into another neighborhood, there's 2 or 3 in kind of the same space. So depending on where you are or where you're looking to buy, could be a ton of homes for sale, could be 1 or 2, and that'll definitely be affecting the price. Months of inventory climbed up just slightly. We're sitting now at 3.6 months of inventory, and that has been trending upwards. Here's Toronto broken down into 9 different sections. And I've got the arrow beside months of inventory to kind of show the direction versus the previous week. Did months of inventory go up or did it go down? Well, all of Toronto, we're sitting at 3.6 months of inventory, but there's parts of Toronto that are outperforming the whole Toronto average. Scarborough, sitting at, it's half. It's sitting at 1.8 months of inventory. Months of inventory came down from the previous week, so it became a little bit more competitive. East York, Riverdale, Beaches area, months of inventory sitting at 2. 58% sold at list price or more for that area. High Park sitting at 2.7. We only sold 4 in all of High Park, and that's an area where there's just not a lot of competition, so it's really doing a lot to maintain its price. Etobicoke, 2.5 months of inventory. That stayed the same as the previous week. Rexdale, Downsview, 2.8. And then you got some of your other areas, 3.6 in York Mills, Weston Yorkdale, 5.6 months of inventory, 5.3 in Willowdale, Bayview. Different neighborhoods behaving differently. It's a different buying or selling experience in the different neighborhoods. Here's semis, semi-detached properties. 52 semi-detached properties were sold. That's double than what we did the previous week, but 52 is kind of in line to where we've been the last few weeks. Average sold price came down, sitting at $1,215,000, and that has been trending down. 1215 is 2% higher than where we were this time last year. And the median price is 7% higher than where we were this time last year. Months of inventory, well, look, when we were at 52 sales, we were at 1.8. This is going back 3 weeks. Then sales dropped down to 26. And math will look at that and go, wow, if we're only buying 26 every week, how much inventory we have? Well, we had 3.9 months of inventory. But now that we're back to selling 52, months of inventory drops back down again because we're going to go through the inventory quickly. So we're sitting at 1.9 months of inventory. That, in a crazy kind of way, has been trending up slowly. We were at 1.4, 1.1 even previous. We're now sitting at 1.9 months of inventory, and 60% of the sold at list price or more. It's still, especially for a good semi, it's very, very competitive. Here's townhouses. 19 townhouses were sold. These are freehold townhouses. 5 of those were at $1.5 million or more. Average sold price climbed up to $1,252,000. 1252 is 12% lower than where we were this time last year. The median price of 1270 is 24% higher. Freehold townhouses, these numbers are all over the place. It's hard to sometimes make heads or tails out of the freehold townhouse numbers. Months of inventory dropped down to 2.1 months of inventory. Condos, sales went up. They were slowly trending down, but we went from 138 condo sales to 171, which is more in line to where we've been most of September. So 171 condos were sold. 14 of those were at $1 million or more. Average sold price came way down to $702,000. So out just past Labor Day, average prices were trending up. At the end of September now, boom, they're coming down again. 702,000 is 7% lower than where we were this time last year. The median price is 3% lower. And you can see September prices were trending up, but now starting to trend down again. Of the 171 that sold, 30%, less than a third, sold at list price or more. Listings jumped up. The listings were trending down, but from this week to the previous week, listings have jumped up to 845 listings, but active listings, it's just climbing. We went from 3,600 to over 4,000. Now we're close to 4,400 active condos available for sale. That's a lot of condos out on the market. And months of inventory, although from previous week to now, it came down by a little bit, by 0.1, it's still sitting at 5.9, very much a buyer's market when it comes to condos. And this is an average. It's months of inventory for all of condos. So you're going to get some buildings that have a whole bunch of listings in there. And you're going to find some buildings where there's maybe 1 or 2. But overall, averaged out, you're looking at 5.9 months of inventory. Average days on market is 22. Here's a quick summary. Condos, we're sitting in a buyer's market. Detached, a balanced market. And semis and towns, I gotta say, it always boils down to the home. Doesn't matter what the home type is. It boils down to the area, what's happening. But generally speaking, across the board, in most cases, it's more of a balanced market. And in some situations, it's going to be more of a buyer's market. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Welcome to 4027 Bloor Street West in Etobicoke. Before I show you the inside of this home, let me tell you what makes it so unique. It has, in all, 8 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms. It has 9-foot and 10-foot ceilings. Each room has its own individual climate control. These are all luxury features you would expect from a custom-built home. But what really stands out in this home is that it was designed from the very beginning for 2 families to live separate and independent of each other both above grade. Let me start by showing you the principal residence. So this is the principal residence. Including the finished basement, you have 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, about 3,000 square feet. So here's the finished basement. It has 10-foot ceilings, an entertainment area, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a private walk-up to the backyard. So this is the private, self-contained, luxurious secondary suite with 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. Have a look.